So this afternoon, President Akufo-Addo is leading a national campaign to restore Ghana's fast depleting forest cover with an ambitious target of planting some 20 million trees. In just the last 10 years alone, the country lost more than 100,000 acres of forest cover to urbanization, logging and illegal mining. Experts are predicting food shortage and worsened climatic conditions if the trend is not halted. Speaking at a ceremony to mark Green Ghana Day, President Akufo-Addo said the country is racing against time to reclaim the lost forest cover.
And offer sources of livelihoods for many of our people. Globally, some 1.6 billion people depend on forests for their livelihoods. And in Ghana, some 85% of the population rely on forest resources for subsistence to satisfy their socio-cultural needs. Despite their importance to our existence, our forests are depleting at an alarming rate. Some 80 years ago, half of the Earth's surface was covered by forests. Today, with an estimated forest area of 4 billion hectares, forests cover less than 30% of the world's surface. In the last 3 decades alone, the world has lost 1,037,846,602 acres of forest, more than 10% of the current total forest area. More troubling is the current data which shows that globally, we're losing 150 acres of rainforest every single minute, 200,000 acres a day, and 79 million acres a year. And this is just rainforest. Here in Ghana, we've lost some 100,000 acres of natural forest in the last decade alone. Our timber industry, which generated jobs for thousands of people, is suffering. The odum, wawa, mahogany, sapele, and several other wood species of the timber industry are also depleting at an alarming rate. Apart from their economic value, forests are home to most of the Earth's terrestrial biodiversity and crucial to our fight against climate change. The climate crisis is said to be reaching a tipping point. We are advised by the experts and the teachings of the Paris Agreement of COP21 to keep global temperatures below 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Now, the Green Ghana Initiative seeks to create a collective action towards restoration of degraded landscapes in the country, mitigate climate change and inculcate in the youth the values of planting and nurturing trees and the associated benefit. Land and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu Jinapo says over 10 million trees are being planted this year, and it forms part of an aggressive afforestation program to restore the lost forest cover of Ghana, which contributes to the global effort to fight climate change.
The Forestry Commission has developed 87 hectares of rosewood plantation in 8 forest districts, namely Tamale, Bupe, Bole, Yendi, Kintampo, Sunyane, Ofinso, and Nkawie, as part of measures to prevent the extinction of this precious wood species. The Forest Plantation Development Fund, on its part, has cultivated some 407 hectares of forest in the Ashanti, Bono, Eastern, Oti, and Volta regions. The fund is also supporting the protection of river bodies. Under the Forest Investment Program, we have secured a $7 million World Bank loan to support private investment in forest plantation. Some 85,000 hectares of forest will be planted under this scheme. Forest Investment Program, we have secured a $7 million World Bank loan to support private investment in forest plantation. Some 85,000 hectares of forest will be planted under this scheme. In October last year, Mr. President launched the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, which, among others, seeks to reclaim degraded mine lands and return them to viable agricultural lands. And under the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project, we are pursuing further reclamation efforts to add green cover and provide employment and income for local communities. Ladies and gentlemen, and to seal the future of our country's forest cover, last year, Mr. President launched the Green Ghana Project to create enhanced national awareness of the necessity for collective action towards restoration of degraded landscapes in the country, inculcate values of planting and nurturing of trees in the youth, mitigate climate change, and beautify our communities and environment. President Akufo-Addo led us on this maiden occasion to plant over 7 million trees. And this morning, the President is here again to kickstart today's nationwide tree planting exercise and lead us to plant at least 20 million trees, 10 million of which will be planted in forest reserves, and the remaining 10 million in off-forest reserves, including watersheds, boundaries, office compounds, and sites within communities such as parks, roadsides, homes, farmsteads, churches, mosques, schools, and other significant areas. Given the very ambitious nature of our target, we have had to mobilize 20 million citizens.
Now, Awola Sewa, who is the coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens Ghana, says the initiative will help to restore the forest cover that have been lost.
Awareness, people are understanding the importance of the environment and planting trees. What we are not 100% sure of how many of the trees actually survive. Because as you know, we can't just plant the trees. They need to be nurtured and taken care of and protected from, goats and other interferences. But I think on the whole, it was very well received. I think it's a brilliant initiative because I do know that questions have been asked, legitimate questions have been asked about how many, the proportion that survived. We were told 80%. I'm not quite sure how that figure was arrived at, but we're told 80%. But for today, we are supporting the initiative. But what we are saying is that it's all very good to be planting trees and hoping to plant 20 million trees in a year. But for us, what is also important, if even not more important, to preserve the existing forest. We can't be on one hand planting trees and on the other hand supervising the destruction of our forest reserves. So we are also campaigning for the protection of Achimota forests and for ensuring that the EI 144 is revoked so that we do not declassify any part of Achimota forest. Because the reason why Achimota forest became a protected area was precisely because we need it. We need it. Achimota is the lungs of Accra. We need our land. So we are saying that Greening Ghana is a fantastic initiative. But to show commitment, we need to preserve our existing forests. Because what we are supposed to be doing is adding to our forests, not on one hand planting trees, and on the other hand declassifying forests and not preserving the existing forests we have.
Now, Recycle Up Ghana partner some 22 basic schools to plant trees, and they say the need for children to be aware of the environmental issues is crucial for the sustenance of the ecosystem. They help in solving critical issues of the environment, the role that academic institutions such as primary schools play in raising awareness and engaging children has become important more than ever. Recycle Up is therefore empowering 22 schools nationwide to create environmental awareness by distributing 1,000 trees among these schools to mark Green Ghana Day. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has more in this report. So we'll bring you this report later on in the bulletin, but moving on to other stories. We'll be talking about the billboard that has been pulled down on the Tama motorway. But just before we come to that story, the details are that the LGBT community in Ghana are threatening of suing the Ghana sponsors of the anti-LGBTQI+ bill in Parliament for pulling down a billboard they mounted on the Tama motorway. The billboard was pulled down after the Ghana sponsors of the anti-LGBTQI+ bill in Parliament issued a 24-hour ultimatum to the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufuor-Dampare, to pull down the billboard because it was promoting the activities of homosexuals. The giant billboard, which was mounted, was in commemoration of the Gay Pride Month, which falls in June each year, and it had the group's colors with an inscription promoting same-sex. Now, Alex Donko is the president of the Ghana LGBT community and has been speaking in reaction to the destruction of the billboard.
The billboard and its removal, we see it as really a criminal act of taking a billboard that was legally, which legally went through all the processes in erecting it, and the message on the billboard wasn't one that was criminal in any shape or form, and for that matter, its removal is one that we believe is criminal, and for that matter, will be taking legal action. We have the right freedom of expression, and we express this using the billboard, and the message on the billboard wasn't in any shape or form criminal. And so for people to put laws into their own hands and then remove a billboard that went to due process in it being erected means that it has faulted on our rights, even as individuals in the country, and the right to expression. And for that matter, those who did that have faulted in that process, and for that matter, will be taking legal action. We gave this particular contract to an advertising company that is legally registered and has gone through all the processes in getting that done. So the process or the billboard the contract was given to an advertising company to do that.
Now, the Agbawamefia of the Asogli State, Togbe Afede, hits back at critics who say he only attended 16% of meetings of the Council of State, hence does not deserve the 365,000 cedis ex-gratia he returned to the state. In an exclusive interview with Joy News, the revered chief said, on the contrary, he has been very active at the Council of State. The former Council of State member was applauded on social media for returning his ex-gratia, which he described as inappropriate. But what many saw as patriotic gesture has equally generated some criticisms. So what does he make of the backlash? He spoke to us.
You know, I was filing my tax returns towards the end of last year, and I received tax receipts from the GRA that showed that some reductions were effected from monies paid to me in July that I wasn't aware of. So I decided, wow, let me find out. You know, of course, I was having my own financial difficulties at the time for responsibility. So I thought, wow, this is great news. I've got some money in. But I decided to find out where the money was coming from. You know, so I first went to my bankers to confirm the money was there. But it was described generally as salary ex-gratia, and I didn't know what that meant. I decided to probe and understand where it was coming from. So I found that a chunk of that money was in respect of ex-gratia, okay, that was due me, and that was 365,000 Ghana cedis plus. Of course, my joy turned to sadness because I knew there was no way I wanted to spend that kind of money. I was very surprised about the sheer quantum of money that I was going to be paid. And I thought that for 4 years work, that in all honesty was part-time work. You know, I did not think that it merited this amount of extra reward after I've enjoyed monthly, you know, salaries. Of course, the other privileges, whether I enjoyed them or not, is neither here nor there, but they're supposed to be there. You know, some free medical care for those who wanted it, and which I didn't enjoy. You know, but I thought the salaries were more than enough. So I decided right and then, and there was no way I could spend that money. That money must go back to government. You see, there may be good reason to pay ex-gratia, awards or end of service awards to certain categories of government workers, public workers. For example, the parliamentarians may have to leave whatever they were doing to serve the nation for a period. Okay, so if they will no more return to parliament, there may be the need to give some end of service benefits. How much should be given is subject to a bit of analysis.
Now, medical superintendent of the Wa Municipal Hospital, Dr. Zakaria Bukari, has expressed worry over the downgrading of the Wa Municipal Hospital to a primary hospital. Though the hospital has been downgraded and its tariffs have been reduced, yet it does not take away its numerous challenges. Key among the challenges is the maternal and prenatal death, which is on the rise in the municipality. Dr. Zakaria made this known when Humanity First, an international charity organization under the Ahmadiyya Muslim, donated medical equipment valued at 180,000 Ghana cedis to the hospital to improve health service delivery at the hospital.
The Wa Municipal Hospital Medical Superintendent, Dr. Zakaria Bukari, opined that the hospital was left in a precarious situation following the opening of the Upper West Regional Hospital. He said their woes was further worsened by the downgrading of the hospital to a primary hospital with lower tariffs, and yet the challenges at the hospital ballooned.
The first time you came here, we knew the Messiah has come to help us, because it's really a problem. And I have been saying that municipal hospital, according to date of birth, is new, because there was none in this region. And then regional hospital is rather the old one, but has moved to a new site. But when they were moving, they never moved with the problems. They never moved with the bad infrastructure. They never moved with the bad attitude. They left it for a new hospital to come and inherit. And the little monies that we generate, because when you move the regional hospital, you are moving a secondary level hospital that has a bigger tariff when you render service. Now we have been downgraded to a primary hospital with lower tariff, but rather our problems are bigger. Having to deal with infrastructural failures, having to deal with obsolete equipment, having to deal with a lot of bad behaviors, and I think that is a very big challenge. Then I think that you came at the right time.
Speaking at a short ceremony where Humanity First, an international charity organization under the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, donated medical equipment valued at 180,000 Ghana cedis to the hospital, Dr. Zakaria expressed worry over the rise in maternal and perinatal deaths at the hospital within the last 6 months. He, however, was optimistic that with the donation of the specialized medical equipment to the over 60-year-old hospital, it will improve service delivery.
Because the whole region, there's no center that has more deliveries than here. Over just the weekend, we had 80 deliveries. And 80 deliveries is some of the districts, their 1 year deliveries. Even the regional hospital will not get 80 deliveries in a month. So we really get a lot of, and then basic equipments like the fetal Doppler, which is here to help. Then things like a CTG would also help to mothers that are at risk. And we see a lot of sickle cell patients, and drugs like Clexine, and those things are very important. And I think that we want to try to reduce maternal mortality.
Team leader of Humanity First UK Doctors, Dr. Azhar Sadiq, who donated the medical equipment on behalf of Humanity First, is hopeful that the equipment will enable clinicians to give better care to the people.
Notable among these are suction devices, a hearing test machine, fetal heart Doppler monitors, which will be very, very important, glucose monitoring machines, and various types of endotracheal tubes. So, we really hope that the donation of this equipment will allow the clinicians in this hospital to give better care to their patients, and together with the teaching and training that we hope to provide in the coming days, it will be hopefully a good package for them to take forward and to train their other colleagues in the future.
Humanity First is an international charity organization under the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission and is found in 52 countries. It was established to ameliorate the suffering of people in several thematic areas, including education, global health, and water for life. Narrowing it to Ghana, Humanity First is involved in several key projects, which included the drilling of boreholes and refurbishment of schools in deprived and outlandish communities. Dr. Majid Alai Al-Hassan is a member of Humanity First Ghana Doctors team, and he shared more light on their activities.
We chose the one municipal hospital, which has a myriad of problems, and last year we came in to do a needs assessment to look at the areas in which we can intervene in order to improve the service delivery. And we are here for a 3-day program. During these 3 days, we're going to have lectures, skill training, as well as skill transfer for key members of the clinical team, doctors, nurses, and as well as some of the allied health professionals. And we are here from today, having these activities for the next 3 days.
Reporting for Dway News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Now, the Ghana Boundary Commission and the National Boundary Commission of Cote d'Ivoire, together with other stakeholders, are planting trees along the River Tano in commemoration of Green Ghana Day, and also to climax activities marking this year's African Border Day. The Tano River serves as a boundary line between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, and the event is aimed at educating communities along the river about the importance of protecting it. Maxwell Agbagba is at Lubo, and he has been speaking to some of the dignitaries at the event. He joins us with some update from Lubo.
Havana was in fact a cocoa farm. Very sad. Can we study the Americans' approach, including legislation and enforcement for reforestation? We can do
a joint meeting with the National Boundary Commission of Cote d'Ivoire in July to deliberate and set up these committees physically at that meeting. There are a number of joint efforts or activities that we envisage that is going to take place within the year, especially during the second half of the year with the National Boundary Commission of Cote d'Ivoire. We're going to have joint efforts for the reaffirmation of some land boundary areas, especially Dollar Power. We are going to have joint efforts along the Bia River in the middle to the northern part of Ghana, on the western part of our country and the border with Cote d'Ivoire. And more especially, the year may end with a very important conference that we are going to hold on the tri-border issues or demarcation between Ghana, Burkina Faso, and Cote d'Ivoire, to be held in Jirapa in the Upper West region. And this meeting is very significant for us to be able to resolve any issues surrounding the tri-border area between Ghana, Burkina Faso, and Cote d'Ivoire. Let me say that we are very happy as the Ghana Boundary Commission that we have had an established relationship with the National Boundary Commission of Cote d'Ivoire. We are hoping that the relationship that have been set off would continue to grow from strength to strength, so that we will continue to have a peaceful reaffirmation and peaceful coexistence so far as the communities of the two borders are concerned. I want to use this opportunity to thank the government and people of Cote d'Ivoire for receiving us and for joining us first for the Green Ghana Day that was held in Jomoro, everyone in Atilubu today. And then we also continue to envisage that we'll continue to have more cooperation so far as future activities between the two countries along our common boundaries are concerned. Long live Ghana, long live Cote d'Ivoire, and long live Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire relationship. Thank you very much.
Yes, so watching the Joy News today here on Joy News. Moving on to other stories. Experts in climate adaptation and agriculture in Ghana are urging farmers and the Ministry of Agriculture to improve upon effort to adapt to the negative impact of climate change or risk the collapse of the industry. According to research, the agricultural sector of tropical countries is at great risk from the impact of climate change due to changes in weather patterns which determine yield and crop production in these areas. At a recent climate change workshop organized by ICRA, I interacted with experts who argued that farmers must know the level of threat and work assiduously to change the narrative. Projections show that about a third of the world's population will be living in tropical countries by 2050. And the impact on agriculture is regarded as the most important and immediate danger of climate change to society. Professor Kankam Boadu of the Department of Crop and Soil Science of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology tells me farmers in Ghana have already started feeling the impact.
If you talk to farmers, they will tell you that the onset of rainfall is shifting. So previously you expect rainfall in March, now it's shifting to April, May. The amount of rainfall that we used to have is now reducing, and sometimes we have excess. Rainfall is also becoming irregular. Climate change is also real because temperatures are increasing. And the projection is that between now and by 2050, we expect increase in temperatures between 1.7 and 2.4 degrees Celsius.
He says this is already affecting the food production levels and hence the food security situation in Ghana.
Farmers are not getting the rainfall at the right time and in the right quantities. It means that they cannot plant their crops at the right time. And when they even plant, because of inadequate rainfall and irregular rainfall, the crops are not able to do well. And so it reduces the yield, and once food production yield is reduced, it means that food availability will also be affected.
So how do we deal with this phenomenon to save Ghana's agriculture from suffering? Vincent Ansabotre, a research scientist with the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, says conservation agriculture is the way forward.
FAO, in terms of its objectives, they have also been able to profile what we call the conservation agriculture. And with conservation agriculture, it talks about how best we can minimize environmental degradation across sectors within the country. So specifically, if you look at a lot of stakeholders has actually come on board to help implement that particular policy.
For Professor Kankam Boadu, a climate-smart agriculture is something farmers in Ghana must be encouraged to practice to mitigate the impact of climate change on the country's agricultural landscape.
As the rainfall is not coming in the right quantities and the right time, we have to be looking at varieties that are drought tolerant. We also need to look at our planting season or schedule. If we're thinking that, every year we are supposed to plant in March, and now it is shifting, we have to move with the climate so that we can adapt to the changing climate. We also need to put in interventions that will conserve the little moisture that we have. And that's what we talk about, the addition of organic manure or organic matter and also mulching. So these are a bundle of interventions that we can do. We can also ensure or do intercropping systems. And once you intercrop 2 or more different crops, they have different canopy structures. And so you are able to cover the soil surface, and that reduces evaporation from the soil.
So we'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you the latest in business. Stay with us.
Hello, good afternoon. Let's do business now with me, Beverly Broom. Director, Network Service Operations and Enterprise of Airtel-Tigo has described the theft of telecom equipment nationwide as a national security threat, adding the menace has the capacity to plunge the country into chaos. Stephen Zoroaster's warning comes after a Kumasi Circuit Court granted bail to 2 persons accused of posing as engineers of the company to steal equipment at the cell site at Etimetim, a suburb of Kumasi. Ohiming Teria has more in the following report.
Mobile telephony firms continue to feel the negative impact of equipment and material theft at their cell sites. Felix Dugan Apri and his accomplice, identified only as Ano, posed as engineers of Airtel-Tigo, climbed the company's mast and succeeded in allegedly removing a radio transceiver equipment at the cell site at Etimetim in the Ashanti region on April 20, 2022. Some workers of the firm blew the alarm, leading to their arrest. The duo made their second appearance before a Kumasi Circuit Court on Thursday and were granted bail in the sum of 200,000 Ghana cedis with 2 sureties to be justified. The court asked police prosecutors to furnish defense counsel with all disclosures and witness statements to set the stage for case management conference. Director, Network Service Operations and Enterprise at Airtel-Tigo, Stephen Zoroaster, bemoaned the frequency at which installations of telcos have come under attack.
Since August 2020, we have had 68 cases, 68 theft cases, where they go and they scatter everything, sometimes everything in our cabinets. We need to replace all the equipment stolen, and that takes money. Sometimes they need to be manufactured by the original equipment manufacturers. And all this takes time to get done. And imagine the impact on the people whilst these services are still down. We are providing like Airtel-Tigo money as a service, we are providing voice service, we are providing enterprise service to businesses. Now, when these cases happen, what it means is that all the businesses, all the people within the locality or within the specific area where the theft impacted, all the services go down. And sometimes it takes days and even weeks to get the services restored, depending on the items that were stolen. So the impact is on the economy, the impact is on national security due to the activities of these unscrupulous Ghanaians.
Hearing resumes on July 12, 2022. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Midday reporting.
Many rural banks are expanding their reach to commercial areas to help increase profitability. That's the observation of the Chief Executive Officer of Echima Akwanwoma Rural Bank, Samuel Bonsu Setre, who believes the aim is to improve revenue mobilization by increasing customer base. Despite the expansion, Mr. Setre explains the bank continued to maintain their strong presence in the rural areas. Nana Aljima has more in the following report.
Rural banks, per their setup, are mandated to operate within the rural areas of the country, helping to increase penetration and reaching out to the unbanked population. Though rural banks continue to maintain their base in their catchment area, they have also increased their presence in the cities.
And the work that we do in the rural area is supported by the mobilization that we do in the urban areas. Without the effort that we have or the business that we have in the urban areas, we wouldn't be able to support the rural areas the way we are doing now. Yes, so that has informed what we are doing. And another issue is that, market is driven by need. We realize that the market needs our services. So why stay in the rural areas when we can offer services to people in the urban areas. And that is one other side of it. And to be honest, our services have been very well received by the urban population, if I may say so.
As part of efforts to improve profitability, the Achimakwama Rural Bank is focusing on improving penetration at the urban areas. The bank is targeting the unbanked and persons in the small and medium enterprise sector. Mr. Secretary again.
We are planning to open a branch in the Central Business District. It's something that our customers are calling for, because when they come to do business in the Central Business District, they want a branch in there where they can easily conduct their business, but we don't have that yet. And so our plan this year is to have a branch within the CBD.
Meanwhile, the bank has replaced chalkboards at the Dichemso MA Primary B with white marker boards. They also donated 6,000 pieces of markers. It comes at the request of the school after existing boards became defective. Amwa Efrifa is board chairman at Achimakwama Rural Bank.
When we talk about the corporate social responsibility, our concentration based on education, health, and security. Now, that is why we decided that at least our concentration should be on education, on these three aspects as I'm talking about. The reason is that if you educate students within your community, you try to educate the people within the whole country.
That's all for business now, but we have more business stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Up next is sports.
Let's do sports now. On Joy News today, I am Muftau Nabila Abla. Just by way of update, the Black Stars of Ghana suffered a 4-1 mauling against Japan in a four-nation tournament. The senior national team scored a consolation through striker Jordan Ayew. Their next game is against Chile on Tuesday, after Chile had also lost 2-0 to Tunisia in the opening game of the Kirin Cup. Now let's talk about the Africa Athletics Championships, which is happening in Mauritius. And Ghana's Rose Yeboah, she won gold in the high jump in the Athletics Championship. The University of Cape Coast student jumped 1.79 meters to beat off competition from contenders Tepitope Adeshina of Nigeria and Yvonne Robson of South Africa, though they all did 1.79 meters.
I'm very, very happy and gorgeous because being a champion is not easy. I was very disappointed because the weather wasn't good at all. We were having the competition in the rain, and as a matter of that, it's decreased my performance. I feel very happy, even though what I was expecting, the height I was expecting, I couldn't get it. But all the same, I'm very, very happy, and I'm sure my country too is happy because I wanted to make I'm just looking up to, get one. I'm already working on one, and I just want to be like them, and I just pray everything works well for me so that I can also join them in the US. My target is I want to train hard so that I can give a better height, I can give a better performance in the upcoming Commonwealth Games.
This girl has had an incredible record. She won gold in the Africa Athletics Championship, which happened in Morocco in 2019, won gold in the Gusa Games, won gold in University Championships in Kenya just a couple of months ago. Now she's won gold again. But let's come home and hear from the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Usif, who has called on corporate institutions to support the development of sports in the country. Usif, who rolled out an initiative to raise $25 million to finance Ghana's participation in sporting events between 2021 and 2023, says government cannot do it alone.
Ministry, that's why we are not only relying on government. Government is not, because there is no, like I said again, that government alone, when it comes to football, there's no country in the world where sports it's only the government that's sponsor. Yeah. Corporate Ghana comes to play. Philanthropists comes to play to support nations in developing their sports sector. Yeah. So we are also positioning ourselves to ensure that corporate institutions will support us. We are making, because once sports is flourishing, the benefits comes to the whole entire country. It brings national cohesion. And when there's national cohesion, business tend to what? Boom. It brings good healthy living. When there's good healthy living, the sports promotes healthy living as well. When there's healthy living, the businesses tend to strive as well. So this is a time for corporate Ghana to support our country whilst we are embarking on this very international assignment. We have mentioned the Commonwealth Games. We have mentioned the World Athletics, which is in Oregon in the USA. We have mentioned Costa Rica, where under 20 female team will be going. We've mentioned the main World Cup, and also that even African qualifiers. These are huge burden on government. So we want corporate institutions, and I want to appeal to media men like you to also join the campaign on calling on corporate Ghana to support the sports ministry, to support government in our effort to get sponsorship.
It's a wrap of sports here on Joy News today. You can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News today. Now, Ghanaian reggae and dancehall artist LaRusso has hinted at joining forces with celebrated Ghanaian rapper Sarkodie to release a project later this year. This comes up as an old picture of young LaRusso with Sarkodie circulated on social media earlier this week. He spoke on Daybreak Hits.
There's a picture circulating on social media.
Yeah, I told you I was freestyling. Like,
okay, so
yeah.
that picture is actually you and Sarkodie.
Yeah, me and Sark.
Okay. And was it just a picture affair, or you guys have like a relationship?
At that time, I wanted to tell him that Charlie, we perverse. So at that time, so see, like at that time, see, I wanted a verse. I told one of his bouncers, he was like, hey, see this guy. But then I had to I got to have a picture with him. Like, I was so grateful for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I believe it was plus for me.
Do you still want to work on a song with him?
Yeah, of course. Of course. King Sai, of course.
Is that going to happen this year?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, great.